So let's talk about
TISA.
TISA.
Here is the fucking news.
Sorry about that. So, TISA, right. It is to trade agreements, kinda like what Percy Weasley is to the Harry Potter world. I mean, everybody knows his brothers, but unless you're a nerd, you probably don't know anything about Percy Weasley. Same goes for TISA. So what is TISA? TISA is a trade agreement, but unlike others, it's not meant to provide the free transfer of goods, but of services. So for example, a German bank can do business in the US and vice versa. Regulations that hinder only foreign companies should be abolished. Which already leads us to the critics of TISA. Some see it as TTIP on steroids, where the governments are like, "Nah man, there's nothing to see here, bro." Of course, this notion is intensified due to the high intransparency of the negotiation. Luckily, there had been some leaks, so now
Just got all the documents.
and we can have a serious debate about the effects of the deal. In this video, I'd like to address the most common critics of TISA: privatization, court system, and the ratchet clause. First thing on the list of the unholy trinities is privatization. It lies in the nature of the treaty that state-owned companies won't be allowed anymore, since, in many cases, they pose an unsurmountable obstacle for foreign companies. So, in order to comply with the treaty, does a state have to privatize all public sectors, for example, education, energy, or information? The answer is no. There are certain sectors that are off limits, for example, security. Secondly, every state can declare sectors to be excluded. So if France wants to have state-owned TV stations or baguette bakeries, it can still continue to do so. However, it is impossible to declare a sector to be off limits later on. This is the cause of much criticism, as a state may forget to include one, or an entirely new sector could develop in the future. Such as, whatever, traveling to other dimensions like in Stargate. I mean, it would suck if private companies had that power, right? Instead of reasonable governments.
It's a bomb, isn't it? What the hell were you thinking?
The next big criticism is the newly introduced court system. For the opponents of TISA, it means a dictatorship of companies, whereas of people in favor of TISA, it is necessary so that the states actually will uphold their promises. I think it is important to mention that states no longer have full power over their judicial branch since quite a while. Examples are the International Court of Law in Den Haag or the European Court of Human Rights. What's probably most important is what judges will be appointed. So far it seems that they will be randomly drawn by lot from certain lists all countries agree on, which appears to be a better system than TTIP at least. The last thing I want to talk about is the ratchet clause. According to Wikipedia, ratchet is a slang term in hip-hop that, not what we're looking for. In the sense of the treaty, it means that a state can't reverse liberalizations. For example, a higher tax for foreigners can be possible, but once extinguished, that decision can't be reversed. Many say this will lead to liberalizations all over the board. I'd like to start a conclusion by remarking that, after studying all the leaks, I found these 3 points to be the most troubling. Of course, other arguments can be made, but in my opinion, these are less convincing. So I conclude. States may be forced to privatize certain sectors if they don't negotiate carefully. States may be forced to change their legislation, and states can't reverse liberalizations. Lastly, I want to state that I tried to make this video non-normative, meaning I want you to form your own opinion and not rely on other news sources, new or old media, to steer you. In the words of the great Rick Sanchez,
think for yourselves, don't be sheep.